Good to go.
Good to go. All right, it is 6:31 p.m., April 19th. It's the meeting of the Coventry Land Trust. The meeting has been posted in accordance with the open meetings law. First thing on our agenda is to call the meeting to order and have a roll call of members. So I will start going down my left side here.
Okay. Linda Brennan is here.
Trace Coretta here.
Go ahead.
Jack Convent here.
Rory Carmody here.
Glenn Underwood here. For the record, not Prentice. Dennis Green is excused for tonight. Our other position is vacant, I guess. And members in attendance, or other members in
John Studley, Associate Planner.
Larry Manier,
Manier from the
GIS.
GIS group.
And Lynn, who demonstrated, has a conflict, but she will get out of it and when you get to the GIS mapping and come in on Zoom. So
Okay.
she can hear the feedback.
Great. Okay. Next on our agenda is evacuation instructions. John, can you tell us how to evacuate?
Yes, in the case of an evacuation, we can go out this door behind you and out to the left, or behind me out towards the main entrance and take a right out there.
All right. Next on the agenda, approval of minutes, March 15th, 2022 Land Trust meeting. Did everyone get a chance to review those? Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes as printed?
Also,
Second. Moved by Linda, seconded by Rory. Any discussion on the minutes from that meeting of March 15th? Being none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye, okay. No opposed, so voted. March 26, 22 site walk minutes. There were only 3 of us that actually were on the walk, so it was more of just a review of what we did. So I know basically we didn't go all the way across the property deep into the woods, but we did behind the school and looking at the area to give Linda and Rory an opportunity to look at the property from the edge of it and not go deep into it, but we got a good taste, I think a good taste of what the property was.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
good.
We have 2 different views. Yeah.
So I don't know whether, I guess we can approve the site walk minutes, although there's only going to be 3 of us that could have.
Right, it's only those who
Yeah,
actually
so I don't know
attended.
whether we even need a approval, but we can note that they were included for the records here. And they're very pretty straightforward, just a quick review. Okay, going on to let me just, I want to make sure we capture the important stuff so before we run late. And I know we got Larry here to talk along GIS. So I just want to, so if with everyone's approval here, look at the Old Spice there. We can we jump right to Leah and under old business, Leah Kavanaugh, and where we stand? Did we get an appraisal?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what happened. We have, like I had said before, we had multiple discussions, him and I, and also with Miss Kavanaugh. We went out to the property, we walked it, he was good to go. And I didn't hear anything for a bit. I've sent him multiple emails. I called him, left him phone messages. I'm not exactly sure what happened. So at this time, I am kind of looking for a way forward. If the members think it's a good idea to move on to the next person, the next appraiser, and see what their availability is. And
Did we have an actual agreement with them?
so no payments have been
No
made to
payments.
him or anything like that. And yeah, the agreement was simply a letter stating that, he would come out to the property, review it, and provide us with an appraisal within, I believe at the time it said 5 weeks. So that was just the correspondence that we had, but no monies have been given or anything like that.
We're past the 5 weeks.
Yes.
So I would say I'd follow up with them in writing.
Yep.
If you could,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
just say that, if we don't have, anything.
I'll give them a hard deadline.
Yeah, a hard deadline that we have to have it, because we need to, and if we don't, if he's not able to do this or whatever because of other commitments, then we need to move on. So,
Okay. Yeah, will do.
okay. I'm gonna jump to now 6.3 to go over our site walk feedback. We just talked a little bit for a second there on our site walk minutes. I think everybody now has walked the Capuano property, and so I'll let Rory and Linda make their comments about the property.
It was beautiful. It looked like it hadn't been touched
Right,
in 100 years, right? Plenty of evidence of deer,
yes, that's for sure.
plenty of evidence of deer and other wildlife and, birds and things. So it was a beautiful piece of property. It really is.
And certainly with wetlands
Mhm.
are always a high value thing for wildlife. My comment is that I think it's a beautiful property. It would be wonderful to preserve it, but I think it would be preserved for wildlife. I don't think it's a great property to be used for public access, because it's, first of all, right near the school, so that having traffic going through the school property to access it may be a problem. And also, so much of it is wetlands that it might be that, not much of it might be accessible, but I still think it's worth preserving for the sake of the wildlife.
It's the densest property we've had. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
usually we have, old trails, whether they're logging trails
Right.
or whatever.
this-
There
there
are
was
no
no-
trails.
Yeah,
No
right.
trails, right?
Yeah. And there's an old cemetery up there too. It'd be nice if that could be
Yes, right at
preserved.
the edge
Right.
of
Because there
the
seems to be a lot of
the
damage to
school
the
has
stones there,
that,
yeah,
so,
Right.
yeah. Oh, the school owns that property?
Yes, remember we
Okay.
went through that before?
Yeah, I don't know where the actual boundary, because obviously we haven't walked, but it looks, if the boundary goes straight, like this plat map shows, then that probably falls on the school property, but we can
Right.
look on the town
John would know from our boundaries, no?
he can
Um,
find the cemetery and see if it falls on the,
Yeah.
if it's shown on the map.
Right.
But so that's not the
No,
critical point
that-
at
that's
this. I
by the
think Linda
school,
made
yeah.
some very valid points about
Mhm.
the property, that it's because of the school and stuff, that if anything, there may be a school nature trail or something that could be added for school
Right.
workshops or something on it, that could be tied in with the schools. But I do agree, public access behind going through school property these days is a little bit of a issue that I don't think we want to delve into. But so I know the rest of the members had, except for Rory and Linda, had a chance to review it. We did the write-up sheet there for it, and we had said that it was worth preserving based on our previous reviews. The next step, in my opinion, is to actually see whether Mr. Capuano was serious about wanting to sell to us, and at least give us a verbal number to start at, because that was the issue the last time, that the numbers were all over the place, and I don't think we were going to be able to get it to appraise anywhere near what they were looking for it. I mean, if you built a road in and all this other stuff that he talked about, knocking down a house and all this, that's a whole different story. We can't do that. So,
Right.
so I will reach out to him and say that we're willing to work with him and see if he has a relative number to start with, and we'll bring that back for the next meeting to see if there's an opportunity there for us to proceed on. All right, is there any other action or anything that we need to do with that particular property at this point? Okay. Bamford family Blackrock. We said, I think we said we'd keep this on the agenda one more
Right.
meeting before we.
Okay, so I talked to Norma Smith, who, and she had been in contact with the Shawmut Purchase Clan of the Narragansett tribes Raymond Two Hawks Watson is his name. This is the clan whose lands included Coventry, but they are not federal, they're not a federally incorporated tribe, separate from the Narragansetts. And he had checked with his elders, Raymond had checked with his elders, and they said that Black Rock did indeed have significance to them, and it was used for marriage ceremonies. So the legend,
Wow.
quote unquote, did have
True.
a basis, which we weren't sure of initially. And he contacted the landowner, and she did respond to him. And she agreed to let the tribe put up signs about the rock's significance, as long as her husband was also mentioned on the signs. And so my feeling, and I haven't talked to this gentleman directly, but my feeling from talking to Norma is that they are handling it.
Nice.
That we don't have to, this is not necessarily something that's gonna, need our intervention, that they're handling it.
Good.
Especially since the landowner responded to him and never responded to us. And she said, Norma said she is working with the Shawmut clan on protecting other sites in Coventry, and that they will be holding a strawberry festival at the annex in April.
Oh,
So,
cool.
and apparently, what I hadn't known about the history of why people are suddenly so concerned about preserving this rock is that there has been some talk about blasting out the rock to make the road safer, which is what alarmed people wanting to protect it. And I hadn't
Okay.
realized that. So,
Well, I appreciate that. I think getting the historical people involved with it is it's more their cup of tea than ours. So
Yep.
that's great
Right.
work. Thank you for all of your time on
Okay.
this. You spent a lot of time researching.
Okay.
How
Thank
many
you.
acres are there?
there's
So-
not,
It's
no,
not
even
an
an acre, I don't
Right,
think.
right.
It's just
And
a
they're
little
having a
thing.
festival though. they think.
No, they're having a festival here at the annex,
Oh,
on the
okay.
front,
Oh, yeah.
by the gazebo.
So I think we can officially now remove this from our agenda.
Yep.
Okay.
Good. I hadn't thought of it being blasted, but then the Jamestown Bridge came down, so anything is possible.
Yeah,
I guess people could just drive slower at that.
I know.
All right, again, if I can take some liberty with the agenda, just to get some of this stuff off, because I do want to get Larry and the Grasset property and talk about Cellar Hall. So,
It's best for Lana if you put GIS on till last.
okay,
So she can get on
Yeah.
another meeting.
yeah, we'll run through this and then
Mhm.
we'll put her, I imagine it'll still take us half an hour, 45 minutes anyways to get there. Drones. any-
I've not heard back from Mark.
Okay. Boundary markers, I was hoping to at least experiment with a couple along Trestle Trail, and that has not happened yet. Maybe what we can also do while we're at Stella Hall is take like 2 of them and mount them on the trees near the front of the property, at least to show some visibility of our land trust symbol on the front. Since the kiosk is empty, but at least while we're there, it'd be something for us to all try together. So, John, you still have this stuff?
Yep, they're actually
All
right
right,
in this
so
closet.
before we leave tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's grab a couple, and that will be part of our chores, I think, for Cell Hall, at least to get the symbol up on the property. And then we'll see how easy it
Is
is.
the kiosk up?
The kiosk is there, but was that the one we don't have
The key to?
the key to on the kiosk? Do you remember, or was that one not locked?
I don't recall. I know we looked for keys,
Right,
and I think that was the only kiosk up before we
yeah,
installed them, so it seems like it would be.
Yeah, I noticed that it was, there was duct tape.
okay, so it was taped, yeah, closed. All right, so that's,
When in doubt.
Yeah. I mean, not that I expect people to pull down signs and stuff out of it. I think the worst thing with is locking these things and then having,
Right.
losing the keys or whatever, but,
Well, these were some of the signs I thought we could put in. They're
Yeah.
laminated, the
oh,
tick.
yeah,
um, And we can do different ones, I thought, for different,
Mhm.
different kiosks, like
Yeah.
where we know the kids bike ride, do that one instead of this one. Like Birds of Prey would probably be good up at the Janice Sullivan or the Bowden one, and then do like frogs and amphibians down at different ones and kind of
Okay,
tail them
that
to,
sounds-
but have this in each of the kiosks that talks about the land trust and how to get more involved.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe what we can do, the other thing is look and see if we can get just a hardware, instead of using duct tape, a hardware latch. Just one of those sliding latches that we can just use to close it. Yeah, people will, if they want to open it and steal our sign, or,
Good, good, maybe they can join.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't,
That kiosk, I think, was put up in the Guy Lafave days.
yeah, that was a long time.
Because I think some of the paraphernalia in there was put in there by Parks and Rec.
I wonder if Raina or has any.
She looked for keys for me
Yeah,
before and she
No one
couldn't
can
come
find
up
it.
with anything.
That's why there's duct tape on it, sure. All right, so we'll maybe get just a slider latch or a hook and eye or something just to close it, so it doesn't, duct tape is pretty strong, but at least this way we can change it out and change up signs as necessary.
Is there somebody who's gonna do that? Or,
I've got to go to the hardware store between now and then, so I'll pick
Okay.
up I'll drive by and check out to see whether a slider latch or a hook and eye would be the appropriate, so I will do that. And signs, we still need to get the Janice Sullivan sign done. So what is the best method to get that installed, other than, do we dare ask Public Works to help us? Do you
We
think?
can try. Yeah,
And see if they can, I mean, if we can coordinate and just take the sign there, and this, just if they have their run out with the backhoe, so they can just dig the 2 holes and then we can plop it in, it'd be a lot quicker than us trying to do stuff. So if you could reach out to,
yeah, I'll reach out to Public Works and see what their availability is, what their timeline would look like, and yeah, we'll go. from
yeah,
there.
if we get Jack and.
It shouldn't take long. Once
No,
the
it's
sign's
just-
there,
you're
you
right.
just dig the hole.
Yeah, well, Dennis has got the sign, and so
Right.
we just have to work with Dennis and Jack, and
Yeah,
so we know where we want it, and
Mhm.
we may have to just move it if they find a rock or something that we can't get in. And maybe have some ready mix or something. We should probably put it in cement so it doesn't loosen up on the ground. Just that quick stuff that you just pour in and pour a bucket of water and works really well. Or the foam cement that you just break the 2 bags and you pour that in there. And I've used that for posts before, and that's works really well too. So, all right, if you can reach out to them, see if they're possible, and then we can sort of schedule something, and we'll provide the cement and just the direction. We just need them to come and dig us 2 holes if they could.
Okay.
Okay. And I did get that, if, between now and like the 1st of June or whatever, so. Target.
Jack has done his share of digging post holes.
Yeah, we don't, I think that soil looks a little
It's
scary.
rocky over there too, yeah.
I think it's more suited for a backhoe to just dig.
Yeah.
For us than even trying to do a regular post hole digger or anything like that, just
Yeah.
because you can. pull
Unless
out a
they
stone.
have the automatic, the drill.
Yeah, even the drill, unless it's a heavy duty one in that soil, you hit stones and
Yeah.
it's, they might have to roll a stone or
there's
something.
an adequate amount of stone there.
Yeah, that's what it was. All right, so that we'll get the sign installation, hopefully target by June 1st, Public Works. See if they can assist. I'll jump down to general trail maintenance, and Jack, you can report out on the work that you and Dennis did.
Well, I got a call from one of the women who works in DPW who frequents the trails. And she alerted me that there was some trees down. Some trees have been cut by someone else, but that one was not. And it's before and after. That was on the Yellow Trail and the Bowden property. We did walk from ledge road to the bike path. I trimmed up a few more that was sticking out a little bit as we walked along. But there's signs that there's been a lot of ATV activity. And especially on the hills, there's gonna be erosion issues. And erosion doesn't get better by itself.
No. Yeah, that's got a couple of areas that would be really, you could see from previous ATV activity that it's gonna cause a lot of
So,
damage. to the
I
trails.
suspect that whoever is frequenting it with the ATV may have been the one that removed some of the other trees, or at least made it so it was passable.
So is there a way to block an entrance so that people can get through and ATVs can't?
I think Glenn did that, you know.
Yeah,
up
they
at-
can go.
oh,
they can
ATVs
go
can
anywhere, though.
The
anywhere.
rocks a little.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
around.
Some of them are pretty hefty too.
Yeah, we thought we had blocked it off enough, but
Mm.
for an ATV, they just will make their own trail to our trail.
Right.
That's it's a challenge everywhere. The only, thing that usually catches them is if other hikers actually know to call the police, but they go so fast, and they're probably coming down Ledge Road and
Yeah,
disappearing into some of the houses over there.
yeah. And the other day we saw them on the Trestle Trail, one
Yeah.
with a school vacation, I guess.
The woman right at the edge of the Williams Crossing entrance was hoping we would originally buy the Bowden because there were parties down in
Down
the flat
there,
at the end of that gravel. You know, it's not drivable, but not for a car, but for others.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know that that's happening. We could
Yeah.
always check on her on how activity is because she came on the site walk with us.
Right. And I
Years
don't know
ago.
how you can really police that.
It's almost impossible. The town has so many issues, not just our town, it's throughout the entire state, every park and stuff. So it's a big issue, and that's such a remote area
Right.
down there that they can skedaddle. So that's what just says, Jack says, it's the erosion, that situation on the particular trails that when they tear them up, that they don't realize that they're doing additional.
Mhm,
It's noticeable on some of the hills.
mhm. Yeah.
And then thanks again for scoping that out. I'm sure this windstorm that we just had last night and this morning may have some more.
Added something to it, yeah.
Add some
I'm
more to it.
sure.
And so you did the White Trail,
No, we did the yellow.
but no one's been on to run.
The white trail, I have not gotten any feedback from anyone, and we did not like it on this last pass.
So we need to schedule a White Trail hike just to go through, because I'm sure we're gonna find some
Wind falls.
loans. Okay. All right. Let me jump back up to, we've covered quite a bit of stuff here. I'm just saving Grasset for a minute. 5.4 potential properties of interest. Has anyone had any potential properties or notice anything that is possible?
I know that somebody had brought up the property off Coventry Road
Right.
where they initially were building solar panels and that got knocked down, and then they were trying to build houses.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
don't know where that is, but and somebody had mentioned that, but it's clear cut at
Right.
this point. I don't know how much value that would be, even if they
Yeah.
decide not to build houses.
I just wasn't sure if it was abutting any other property, and if it like,
I
I
don't,
can't see how far it goes back.
I
John,
don't,
can you grab the map of
Yeah.
that particular property?
Yeah, it's,
it butts, it might abut where the gravel pits are.
all right, yeah, because I couldn't piece, when I went by there, I couldn't piece
And-
where it
But
goes.
a lot of it is fairly close to, my development.
Oh, all right, because it looks like it drops off in the back.
Yeah, so I
So I
think
wasn't
that's
sure if there was
where
property.
the
Oh,
gravel pit is.
well, that's what I wasn't sure if there was property there that could be kind
Mhm.
of donated or accessed. Like the Howard and Calvintown end.
But they have actually raised,
I know, it's unbelievable.
it's ugly.
Yeah.
Can be.
Yes, right.
So it's that lot right there.
Yes, right behind Watercress Court.
And how many acres is on the, what's the card say?
Usually pops up if I zoom in a little bit. Let's see there. So let me try.
You say that thing is completely cleared now?
Well, this
It looks
one
About
rectangle,
43 acres.
I don't know how far
Hmm.
in. it
Well, that's what I
goes,
couldn't
but-
see. I just drive by there and I could see it, but
Yeah.
it looks on the horizon, it looks like it drops down. I was wondering if there was a parcel down
Right.
there or something.
So I think like that,
That section is all cleared right
That-
to the
yeah.
ground. Yeah,
the section that abuts the road.
Let me just-
It,
yeah.
so let me see. There we go.
It's in a
That-
densely populated area, which is always
That's
a
right where, yeah,
ranking
that's all
factor.
clear cut to the right up there. Right in there is all clear cut
right there.
right there. And I just wasn't sure how far back it went, if there was property there that would be worth donating or going after.
John, do you know if there's a development plan or anything submitted on this property with that?
On the property that's highlighted, this is the property that they had proposed a solar
Solar
development.
development, right?
And then after that, don't quote me on this, I believe it was 17 homes. And there were rumors swirling that once they had done more test holes, that there was some sort of site contamination, stuff that they found as they were digging. So we haven't heard anything from them in over 6 months. They did receive master plan approval, but as they went deeper and needed to get their, start getting their state permits and everything, it's been quiet ever since.
And I know that years ago, there was controversy because some of the neighbors claimed that there was contamination in their wells from the gravel pit.
Oh,
Hmm.
And that they eventually discovered, through studies, they found that the contaminants were naturally occurring, but they were in the, in that.
Hmm.
So,
All right,
so-
interesting, but if there's already contamination or something going on there, that might be just a negative right off the bat.
Exactly,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's like
And
having a
because
phase
it's
one done for you.
Already been,
What's that?
It's like having a
you know,
phase
large-
one already done for
you
you.
know.
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting, it would have been a nice property had they not done that, but maybe it's better they found the contamination, or whatever it could be.
Right.
before someone else, yeah.
Okay, no other properties at this point to discuss then.
There is a beach area, by the Greenway, where there used to be a sun something boat. They had fuel for the boats and it's 4.5 acres, but I mentioned it to Rec, the woman at Parks and Rec. Nothing seems to be happening there, but
The
there is a
one-
for sale sign.
The one up here on 117
Yes,
Yep.
by the
On
bridge.
by the bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the for sale sign's been taken down. I just drive by.
Has
there
it?
Mm.
quite a
Somebody
bit.
maybe bought it, you think?
It's possible. I don't know the status.
Yeah.
I just think that the
Well,
sign's been taken
I
down.
looked at it online.
Yeah, it's
they
in
were
the
asking
upper
$1 million.
part
$1
of
million
Flat
bucks for
River,
it.
you know.
They're asking $1 million for it.
Yeah,
Wow.
by
Yeah.
Indian Trail,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know whether, again, when I came by tonight, I don't recall seeing the sign, so I think it's down.
Hmm.
Whether someone bought it or not, or whether the owners decided to retain it. I mean, that's obviously, it would be nice for recreation. I don't think it'd meet our standards.
Right.
of-
Yeah, I thought it would be better. There's a little pond even in the back that would be good for nature study.
Yep.
Mhm.
But there's enough stuff going on in town with Johnson's
Right.
Pond right now that,
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Parks and recreation isn't part
Yeah.
of
You
it.
know,
I mean, because we can't, as we all know, that
Right.
that it's not public access to the pond, so.
Right.
right.
unless you want to pay.
Right.
Maybe, we don't know. But it was a good part for someone to have a boat landing or whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
The only other property I see on a regular basis, and it's mostly swampland that's for sale, is on Hartney Hill Road.
Oh, yeah.
Can you bring that lot up on,
Is it right?
Right
Is it,
after Zeke's Bridge?
it's
No.
past Zeke's Bridge down by Camp Westwood.
it's down closer to, not Camp Wheat, what's the road that goes all the way into West Greenwich?
Whaley Hollow Road.
No, the other side, opposite side of Whaley Hollow Road off of,
Yep.
Hartney Hill.
Near where Alpine is.
Yeah, the road that Alpine Nursing
Nursing
Home's
homes on. I
on.
can't think of the
Weaver
name.
Hill.
Weaver Hill.
Weaver Hill.
There you go.
I live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, always there's a hill in there.
So it's east of Weaver Hill Road, and on the curve of, after you go Weaver Hill Road going east, and then there's a curve on Hackney Hill Road, there's a property in there that's, years ago, they put a lot of perk tests in there, and it looks like pure swamp, but
It's past the 1700 block.
Yeah, we one time looked at Whaley Hollow Road
Right.
because of an access into Nealon. I think that was, it was a small, but an
Mhm.
access, and I think it got used by someone for a house.
Okay, so here we have Weaver Hill Road. And you
Yeah.
said it's,
so just go east, keep going east on, no, you're going west.
sorry,
That one on the curve right there.
Yep.
That one.
Huh. And that's Whaley Hollow, right?
Yeah,
this is Hartney Hill
doesn't the
Road.
sign say it's like 30, 40 acres?
I think it said it was 30 or 40 acres
Yeah.
or something.
Was wondering how close it is to Stella Hall.
No,
if
it's
that was-
not. This is all by itself. Can you just get the dimensions of that property?
Sure.
For the
24
acres.
There is a house on it, so that would
Hmm.
be a consideration. But yeah, roughly 20 to 24 acres.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty wet through there.
Now, that's what we tried to protect,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, of course, John just pointed, I hadn't looked at it before, but the house is all part of the
So
property.
you would most likely need to do something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
3 acre zone.
This is, I don't know, Hartney Hill's funny. There's a line where it changes. So this is actually 5 acres.
Hmm.
It's actually literally right on the line.
Ah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, that was just one, I haven't checked any prices or anything, but just if you do happen to drive by it, you can see if you want to bring it as a point of interest, but again, it's not separate from the house right now.
Mhm.
Okay, that's potential properties. Going back over our outreach to encourage, organize, avenues to encourage, organize volunteers. Or you've been championing some of that for us.
Yep, some of the kids, I don't know if Grace and Weston are on the call, but they're planning to participate in the Land Trust Days.
Okay,
I mean, on the cleanup on the
Cleanup.
23rd, and some folks who joined us before, a couple who joined us for Stella Hall, they're thinking of coming as well.
Good.
So I'm hoping to get 3 to
Okay.
5 volunteers for the 23rd, yep.
that will be a good day, and right now, fingers crossed the weather's gonna be okay.
I saw in old notes by Brian Teff, the state biologist, that the state would give duck boxes if they could be installed. It was thinking of the Envirodyne kids.
Okay, that's good to know.
Because that isn't a cutting or
Yep,
getting into
right.
things, but we don't have boxes up anywhere. Even wood ducks we used to have
Right,
in the area around Town Farm Road.
Well, we saw a wood duck yesterday
Did you?
when we drove past Stella Hall.
ah,
When you drove past?
So Bob and I was just trying to make sure I knew where Stella Hall was.
Yeah.
We were driving up Phillips
Well,
Hill
that's where it
Road,
was.
and the next property, there was a splendid wood duck And it's strutting down.
I
the
saw
road.
the
That's so funny.
ducklings drop out of the nest and they fly right off when they hit the water. They fly
Wow.
right off. It was a whole nest of them because there was an old wooden telephone pole in the pond.
Right.
Stella Hall.
Okay.
And then, National Grid and Narragansett put up the big tower
Mhm.
line because it was kind of dangerous. The pole was leaning
Yeah,
already in the
that's
pond because the pole was there before the pond
Pond
was
was there.
built man-made. So it
But-
would be great to have them.
Yes,
you
but
know,
there are
some-
wood ducks there, so
yeah.
that would be.
That is nice.
You could probably get permission even on, private land.
To
there
put a
if
duck
it's
box
still, people we've dealt with before.
Okay, let's move on to important calendar dates. Obviously, this weekend's our activity there at Stella Hall, 9 a.m.
And that's on Phillips Hill Road. We're going
Yeah.
in, we're just gonna have to,
We'll meet right
Kayak
there
ride.
at that little, so at Phillips Hill, when you get on, go down it a ways, and then on the corner, there's the parking area,
Mhm.
and we'll be meeting there at the parking area to walk in.
So, we're scheduled to be there at 10. Do you want us
No.
there earlier?
Well, I'll be there about 9,
9,
so
okay.
I'm gonna
okay.
try and just do a scout out first to see. I probably won't be bringing my tractor, but I'm gonna work with Dennis to get a wheelbarrow there so we can wheel out. And then if we have anything heavier, I'm gonna need more time to get my tractor over there. But the good thing is now we have a key, so we can try that key out and make sure it's the right one. But I think the biggest part that we wanted to do is make sure that the trail area was clear of trash, any visible trash. And I haven't explored, there's some other little area trails that are off of that area that we want to make sure that, all the trash is picked up. So we're prepping for the land trust days there. And then it'll give everybody a pretty good feeling for what we need to do to get ready for the fall event. Any other important dates coming up quickly on us other than this activity? Okay. We'll work through this weekend. Grant opportunities. Anyone here of any new opportunities? I know there was some frustration, I think, at the state level, I think from what Kate Sales was putting out for that they weren't putting a lot of money into the open space side of the funding. But that's, we all know that times are difficult, but and I never did get any feedback as for, remember last fall, they had another open round of grants and how much, I didn't see any awards of any of those grants listed on.
It was in my Google, Glenn, awards for 2022.
Did you see?
It listed, yes.
So you got it, okay.
Why, just look, we weren't there, so.
No,
it
well, we didn't
wasn't
apply for
totally-
any, but I just
yeah.
wanted to know,
But it is in the,
do you
system.
remember any that
it would probably come right up again.
who got them?
Anyone else might beat me to it.
Well,
No?
no. While you're plugging through that, land trust summary 5.6. I'm drawing a blank as for what we put that on the agenda for. To,
Is that for the website or anything?
well, we have a section that we're gonna
Okay.
talk about the website in a minute and 5.2, but I don't know what the land trust summary. We'll delete that from the agenda since, all right, let's go to the website. Linda, do you have any up?
I basically went through and I believe I made all the corrections and I should have gotten it out to be passed out to everybody. But I did not. But I can pass this around. It's only a couple of pages. I don't, if you can just kind of glance through it. And I'm not sure do I just send this to you now and you can put it up see that it gets put on the website?
Right, so if everybody is happy with it here, then I can forward it to Cody in the IT department and he would be able to upload all that information.
Okay, so I'll just quickly.
you send that by email to us? And
I
then we
can.
Yeah, why don't you send it by email and then we can just next meeting approve it.
Okay,
and That
I
way,
will. And can I send it directly or do I have to send it through Gail?
The safest way is through Gail, and then
Okay.
she'll forward it out, because we don't want to get into any sticky situation
Okay.
where
So-
one person's emailing one, and then it can become a chain,
Right.
and
Right.
it just
Okay.
gets fuzzy. And
Yeah. because it can turn into discussion online instead
Right.
of, so we don't want to.
Okay,
So just send it to Gail. She can send it out to everybody to be ready to have any comments or suggestion for the next meeting to
Okay.
finalize.
so do I want her to send it out to everybody right away or wait till right
No,
before the meeting?
she can send it out right away. She can also reattach it as one of the documents for the meeting, but she can distribute that so we have time to review it between now and then. But don't send feedback to Linda. Just hang it for
Right.
the next meeting,
Okay,
so we don't start an open dialogue. And I want Dennis is pretty good with his memory on all this stuff that. So that way, perfect.
okay.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Grasset. Let's see, I just want to make sure we covered all that. Grasset property. Oh, you got more on the
Well,
website?
I just, yeah, just one other thing is that somebody talked about invasive species.
Mhm.
And so I came up with, I just, apparently DEM has a list of invasive species, but they're organized in an odd way. So they're like invasive species for forests, invasive species
Mhm.
for,
Yeah.
so I don't know whether you want me to try and concentrate on just the forest invasive species, which there's already a bunch of. Or
Right.
do you want me to try and get this together in a more cohesive thing, maybe for one of those times?
Yeah, because I think the invasive species, that was a project that the students from Environthon wanted to tackle.
Okay, so
So-
I should let them do that?
Well, being able to identify, if we can show them what the invasive species are,
Okay.
so if we pick the ones that are most common to what they would encounter here, that's probably the best. Maybe that is the
Okay.
forest.
Okay,
And that could go
So-
in the kiosk periodically, a lot of this information.
okay, and I'll try and assemble it in some kind of, this is like pages and pages of just one,
Right,
yeah.
I know.
yeah.
I tried to do that with just birds and there were too many, so then I just went with hawks. And then I'll figure out smaller groupings.
Okay, yeah, that's good. And I think that's a good idea to, every so often, if we rotate the information that's in our kiosks
Mhm,
there, and then, at a certain point when it's hiking season at the beginning or whatever, we put
Season specific.
right
Yeah,
documents.
wear orange, ticks, yeah, things like that, yeah.
Okay. Let me move on to Grasset property, and our action here is to get ourselves onto a council agenda, and John and I talked about that earlier today. Do you have any feedback that?
Yeah, so based on our conversation, we're intending to get onto the agenda as soon as possible. I reached out to the council president. She has no issues with that. They will be having a meeting in the next couple of days, where they're gonna prep and lay out all of their agenda items and try to fit us in when they can and as quickly as possible. So as soon as I get an update, I will let you guys know, and we can.
Okay, and I see
Get that going.
George Boxdale has joined the
Yes.
public participation. Can we bring him into the meeting? Because George is the other component of the Grasset. George, can you hear us? Looks like you're muted.
Can you unmute him or does he have to do that himself?
I can ask him to
Okay.
unmute, but that's all I have.
Oh, well.
Yeah, see, I can click.
George, can you do you want to say anything, George? There we go. Can you hear us, George?
Oh, one second, that might be my fault.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah. All right, try again, George.
*6.
He unmuted his mic, so
*6.
George, can you hear us? Well, I don't know whether George, you can hear us. So George wanted to get updated on where we were. He had been traveling out of town for a while, and now he's back, and he was going to dial in on the meeting, which he has here. So we're having a communication issue, but anyway, so part of that whole thing will be the donation of that sliver of property and from George, and he was still interested in proceeding with that. So if you can hear us, George, our goal is to get on a council agenda as soon as possible, hopefully within a month or so we can proceed with everything as been discussed between Mr. Grassett and yourself for the two things that we'd like to see happen. So that's where we're at. We're still waiting to get on the council agenda, and hopefully it will be very, very soon. All right, anything more on that? And I know Dennis prepped a package of information for his normal package that's very similar to what we did for the Heritage and Janice Sullivan property to give to the council. I think he sent that to Gail to have put together. So I don't know, John, whether you've seen that package or whether.
I don't have that
Okay,
as of now, but I
think I saw Dennis send it to Gail.
okay. So I'll check in. I assume it's pretty close to the same thing as what we had before.
Yeah, and I think the only other additional information was the appraisal
Right.
and all the components. So I think it should cover everything that we need to present to proceed with that property. All right, that covers all of our old business, ongoing business. We've done everything. Dennis had sent out, or had Gail sent out with a package, his task list for Stella Hall. I think pretty thorough task list, and we, obviously we start this weekend with our cleanup of it. And we'll give some members some opportunity to walk the area, so we'll give us some better ideas, so better feedback for the next meeting. I don't think there's any other additional items on the task list other than, that usually from here on in May, June, July, the time goes by quick with the summer and stuff. So this should be fairly easy, I think, for our event, because the layout of the property is fairly easy. We don't have to do road signs and stuff directing people like we had to do for Janice Sullivan and all that. We don't have to get the neighbors all notified of that we're having something, because it's got a decent area for people to flow in and out. We just, I'll send out the invitations like I did last time to public officials and things. And we'll go at our next meeting, we'll see what other of these items and have names attached to each task at our next meeting there to proceed, but we'll all get a feel for it this weekend.
Lynn just texted me. She's only got about 15 or 20 more minutes. So it's a little better.
All right, so she's ready.
And she's on.
Okay, let's go. Let's move right on to that.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
We gotcha.
Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm sorry if I'm rushing you.
No, perfect. Thank you.
I'm not even really sure. Larry alerted me to the land trust meeting that you guys are having tonight, and I don't have anything really to present other than just, to re-mention that we have this ArcGIS online mapping environment, and we're ready to hear about any kinds of suggestions that you might have to add to it, take away from it, change, etc. So, yeah. You guys just disappeared off my screen, so I don't know if I'm even still on the call.
Yeah, we hear
We're
you.
here.
We hear you.
Mhm.
Oh, there we go. I'm not used to this way that Zoom is presenting itself to me on my computer today. Usually I can see a whole gallery of everybody, and
Right.
so anyway.
Well, the big question, I guess, is anybody had a chance to play with it?
I did not have a chance to play with it. I was out of town for a lot of the past. Did anyone else have any, after what we got to see last meeting, obviously it's a very powerful tool. Did anyone come up with any additional thoughts of things that we would wanna, we know we want the trails, we want to have links and stuff, so set up, is there any other technical stuff that that we want to be able to add?
I guess, and this may have already been answered, is, okay, I'm writing a website and I have information about all our properties. Is it possible to link just a map of that particular property to each of those pages? So in other words, if we have a tab bar and the tab takes you to the Stella Hall property, can we there have a link to the
Just
map of
that.
that property?
Lynn, can you show your screen and show the land trust properties layer?
Sure. Give me a second to set it up. Let's see.
The quick answer is yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways that we can customize this to do all sorts of different things. And one of the things that you might want to consider for something like that would be we could develop what's called a story map, which is sort of a website that allows you to focus in on you could focus in on different parcels and have all that information about each parcel that you want, and you'd scroll through. So as you're scrolling through this website, the map would come up, and then on the right side you could have a description of it, pictures that would go along with it to show what the trails look like, people walking on the trails, all that kind of thing.
Videos as well.
Wow, that would be
Videos,
awesome.
yeah, you could have like flyovers with a drone or something like that. Let me see if I can now share my screen. So all I have on my control bar is raise hand. I don't see anything that's join as. Do I join as a panelist then?
Yes, that should do it.
Okay.
Now it should work out.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Am I showing you the right screen? Can you
Yeah.
actually see the welcome sign?
Yeah,
That's right.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So again, just to go back over, we could do, we can have, these are the land trust properties, and so you could zoom in on any of these properties, and we can change the base map, so it can be an image. I think we did show this a little bit. And then you can change it so that instead, when you turn this on or off, it shows just an outline instead of a solid fill.
okay.
So something like that. And so you'd actually see the boundaries of it. And then, we can have different layers on here that would be points of significant sites on the property. You know, maybe you want to show where there's a bridge over a wetland, or you actually have the trails outlined on here. So that people can sort of get a bird's eye view of where they're going to be walking along the trail system.
So if we, I think following up with what Linda had said, if, someone wants to get a lot of information on the property, obviously the map is good, and then the trail layer, and, but if we wanted to add some still photos of the property, so if we go and say, all right, we've got some highlights on Stella Hall that we want people to see, them, that makes it really attractive, like looking at the water and the stuff. Can we have those also available, that someone would be able to, if we sent you for each one of those properties, the highlights of and still photos at ground level, would you be able to have that also added?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways to do that. One is to actually put it right in the pop-up here, and I'll go in a second. I'll go over to one of these other historical properties just to show you how how Larry and I have done that with the, because he built all this stuff with photos in it for the historic properties. But you can have a picture or two come right in the pop-up here.
Okay.
So that's one way of doing it. And then I'm just going to go to a different website here. Oh, that's not really what I was going for. Let's see. It's because I'm logged in here. Let's see. Hopefully this will get me there. So we also have this option to build what's called a story map. So you can take your map. I don't know if I'll be able to find one that's really a good indication of what you guys want to do, but let's see. Let's birdability map. Let's look at that. So this would be the kind of thing that you could have, right? So you'd have a story map where we have pictures. You have, any logos or anything that you want. You have text, and you have embeddable maps that you could go. So you would have an embeddable map here of the land trust properties, and you could, zoom into them. So this becomes an interactive map, and then you can click on things and have all the same information come up. And then, you can so you can build these story maps out really with a ton of information. And so that's something that you could do. So there could be like a navigation bar across the top that would highlight each one of your properties, and they would click on that tab, say for a particular property. There would be a map. There would be text about the property, when it was acquired and what its significant features are, pictures about it, all sorts of things. The sky is pretty much the limit with these story maps.
So I think what we should target on our group, the 3 properties, because this year we'll be working on Stella Hall. We 2 years ago we did or 3 years ago, I guess it was now, we did the Bowden property, and then last year we did the work on Janice Sullivan. If we target those 3, get some still photos, get of the highlights of each trail or the area, along with the information that we've already acquired. For your stuff, we can now take all that and process it into, just that layout. That'd be a real, we should target that as our goal this year, because those are the 3 properties that will have trails that are actually usable, and then build from there.
Do you want to do the Whipple property as well? Because, and there's trails there, it's readily accessible. And,
You're ambitious to get 4 done, but the Whipple is actually, I was surprised because I got a lot of information on Whipple already, on trails, Rhode Island trails or something.
Right.
There was a website that had a whole bunch of pictures and things, so.
right.
Lynn, one of the things we haven't done so far, that I noticed the comp plan, the 20-year-old comp plan did have a map on is recreational opportunities in the town. And really, your land trust properties are part of a broader
Mhm.
set of places to go, parks and places to go have fun.
Hiking,
You know, they
yeah.
got tennis courts at the old Nike site and all kinds of things. And I would think ultimately, we want to have something that citizens can go to and find places to go have fun. And
Yeah.
right now, we have it as a land trust layer, but this could be the beginning of a recreation.
Right, so, yeah, so cross-linking, if someone was to look up recreation in, you know, the town of Coventry, and then under the hiking, you know, for section, then they could get back to the 3 properties or whatever,
Yeah.
4 that we'll have, if we include Whipple, the trails on it. So I think our chore here is to assemble the information and the digital pictures of the highlights and the information that would go with each one of the pictures, or a little caption or whatever, and put ourselves together and get this stuff to Lynn and Larry here to take a look at. And let's just try and keep it focused for our group, at least to finish the 3 and possibly the 4th for this year, because those are the ones that are ready to, with trails and stuff. I think it would be the best way to monument and get the information out in a digital world that we're in.
Great.
Right. So I'll just mention that this particular map that we've given you the link for at the last meeting is designed, you know, sort of as a more or less for a management purpose for you folks and for the historical commission. And we hope other commissions in town to use as a resource for your own planning and so forth. So this can be adjusted to meet whatever needs you have for that purpose. You know, okay, what acreage is there? What are the parcels in town that, you know, are available to us? And how big they are and so forth. Like you were just asking that question, you know, you can come in here and find out any acreage of any parcel you want. You can search. So this is a tool for you, but it's a good starting place also for building up what you want to be visible to the public. And you know, so we can use these same layers and just put them in a different formatting system for consumption by the public as one of these story maps or something like that. I'll also just mention quickly, I have not a stellar GPS, but a GPS that's better than your average phone. So if you want me to go out with you guys and walk the trails of any of these properties to get really good delineations of the trails, I can do that as well.
Yeah, that'd be super, because then that's probably the easiest way for you to mark it into your maps with your own. That'd be great.
Yeah,
So
it absolutely is. I can go straight from my GPS right into the GIS world. So yeah.
okay, so our action item is to get back to Lynn and schedule a day with her to walk the trails, and after this weekend we should be ready to have Stella Hollow marked and stuff. So we'll get that done. That's easy to do. That's just a walk on our pre-made trails that are already there. So, and then the other thing we need to do, and we can do some of it this weekend, is acquire some good digital photos that we want to add of Stella Hall, obviously. And also then we can move on to the other trail areas and stuff, and just even showing people where the parking is, and, you know, and just the highlights, like our little field on Heritage, on Jana Sullivan, and, you know, what you're gonna walk. You know, a lot of people like to have the feel of the trail, of, you know, what's it like, or the terrain. So if we can bring our cameras, or most of us have phones that can take some pretty good pictures now.
Because we could embed the drone footage
And
we
you can-
have on Ledge
yeah.
Road and the Ledge Road trail. The boat trail.
Yeah, I think that would be also
Yeah.
ideal for the stuff that we already did for Ledge
Yeah.
Road. Yeah. All right, so we owe you some material and we owe you to schedule a day when you're available to walk a couple of trails, and whether it's one property and Bowden, we've got basically three trails on Bowden, but we're probably not quite, we gotta double check the white and the back yellow trail to make sure that they're open and clear, because I don't think anyone's been down all the way through there, but we can do that all in a pretty quick, it's probably like an hour and a half to do all of those trails, maybe 2.
Did you mention you now have a vacancy?
Yes.
We have a vacancy.
Lynn,
Oh.
the Land Trust Commission now has a vacancy, and Lynn was appointed to the Conservation Commission, which is non-existent. And Lynn is, you want to?
Can we steal?
Yeah, thanks, Larry.
I nominate
Yeah,
Lynn.
Yes.
Lynn has
I,
already asked Ann if she could change.
I have been appointed to the Conservation Commission, but it doesn't seem like they're really ever gonna meet. So I toyed around with the idea of trying to join you guys instead, and if
Motion
you have
carries.
me, I'll
Yeah,
join.
we'd love-
Oh, yeah, that would be wonderful.
I nominate her. Can we just do that right now?
Yes.
I think
As long as she's a town resident, she is a town resident.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
she's,
over by Mishnock.
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
nominated, Lynn.
We'd love
Okay.
to- I think that the last we heard was Ann was, they were looking to declare the position vacant and move with, so maybe we can, I'll send Ann an email, and Lynn, if you want to send her one too, asking that, your resources will serve well on the land trust, and I know it's been frustrating for the Conservation Commission because they just haven't had the quorums or enough people, but I think you would be a great help for us right now to get us in a direction that we need.
Okay, well, thank you.
right.
I did write Ann, and she wrote me back and said to send her my resume, which I did. But I don't know what the formal process is, so.
Okay, well, I'll send her an email, and because our person that the position that we far exceeded our bylaws or charter, that the position should be deemed vacant. So so the position, as far as I'm concerned, and I think we're all concerned, is vacant and needs to be filled
Yep.
for us to
Mhm.
continue on. So I will also send Ann email requesting that the position, and well, certainly put my 5 cents in, or 25 cents in, that you'd be a great assist for
Mhm.
the technical
Absolutely.
side of helping us and helping the town, would be a really big positive for us.
Does it require a vote of the council?
They
Yes.
approve,
They
yeah, they
approve.
appoint.
And they interviewed me.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
they are now doing interviews, so.
Well, since she's already been interviewed once.
Yeah,
Well, part of that helped because also Ann, and I'll compliment her on being very fair, wanted to spread the membership so it wasn't everybody from Weston Coventry and on the, so having someone from a certain different area towards the Mishnock area of town would also help our
Yeah.
diversity and representing areas of the town. So that weighs tremendously to not only technical skills, but also, because Dennis and I and Rory are in the west, west of Parking Hill, I guess is what you call
I'm
it.
in the Eastern.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you
we
go.
don't need-
Yes.
So,
good.
but no, that'd be great. So we certainly appreciate that, and I think we owe you some work here on getting some information. And then the ultimate goal is that if anyone logs into the town website, or anyone can on our tab on the town website would be able to go and get this information and
Mhm.
just keep on moving along to find stuff. So right now the land trust information is thin on the town website. We want to make it more robust if someone's looking up town of Coventry and then they click on, oh, well, this looks fun. And then, like you say, recreation, under the recreation tab would be able to come back through that way to say, oh, yeah, those trails and stuff too.
Yeah.
Great.
Hey,
Appreciate that.
sure. Well, I want to acknowledge Larry for putting in all his hard work on all
Yes,
this.
we
Yes.
want to acknowledge him too. And
Yep.
certainly,
All this historical cemetery and all these historical properties is hours and hours and hours of work that he's put in, so. Yeah. I don't know how much work you want to do, Larry, on the land trust side of things, but I think Larry and I are happy to still collaborate together on all this, so it'll be
well,
fun.
it's a real positive
That's
to
amazing.
to have this because it's needed and it's very difficult to get things like this done. So again, we're really pleased that we have an
Mhm.
opportunity here. So I thank you, Lynn, and we will be in contact and we will do some work this weekend.
Thanks.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Larry.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. What else do we have on the agenda that we didn't cover?
Are we gonna go over Stella Hall and
I think this weekend we do the cleanup, so I don't think we can look, is there anything on the task list that we need to do for?
For cleanup.
I think for me, is there anything that I particularly should bring with me, or are we just going to, does everybody already know what they're supposed to be bringing? So in
Well,
other words, should I-
Jack, you and Dennis did you take a walk on it?
On Stella Hall?
Yeah,
Yes.
so what is your recommendation of anything that we do need to bring? Gloves, wheelbarrow.
Yeah,
and we'll-
gloves,
Gloves,
tick spray.
tick spray.
Barrels or anything?
Water.
Barrel, just a trash barrel on wheels.
You may want to bring some kind of bags or something.
Couple trash bags with you to pick up loose trash.
Okay.
And then we'll wheel out the heavier stuff that we can go out, and then we'll see if we need any other different
Mhm.
heavier stuff that we can't move.
There may be some heavier stuff,
Okay.
not a lot, but some.
Yeah,
My husband wanted to know if he should bring tools, like, do you want him to bring, because he's gonna help out, but bring a hacksaw or, clippers or anything like that?
I think the biggest part that I remember, and I haven't been there, yeah, it's been a year, a little less than a year that I walked it last summer. There was some pieces of trash, a couple of pieces of metal over on that far point that was around, that was dumped, and some of that's where I don't know whether we're going to be able to move some of that in the wheelbarrow or not. I think we can.
And coming back from the point, if you go off to the right, there's a loop trail.
Mhm.
Seems like there was some trash that maybe, I think there was a barrel there. It was partially decomposed and some other assorted things that were sticking out of the ground.
All right, so maybe have a shovel and gloves and a trash bag, a couple trash bags, and then we'll go from there. I'll work with Dennis to get a wheelbarrow down there to wheel. I'll push a wheelbarrow out, and that's all I can. I think, if there's anything heavier, then I'll have to schedule when I have a chance that I can actually bring my tractor bucket down. Or now that we have a key, we'll be able to get the tractor down the path.
How rugged, how long is the trail and how rugged is the terrain, just for my?
Train is easy,
Mhm.
and I don't know, is it a half mile to all the way out to the end? Just under, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's an easy one. This is,
Okay.
yeah, it's an old pathway, so it's not like it's rugged. We're not gonna be dealing with stones that you have to step over, and this one's one of our easier ones to walk. And no brush or anything pretty much on where we're gonna be walking, right? There's no,
I don't recall
yeah.
any major obstacles.
I'll throw my
There may have
chainsaw
been
in the
one
car
tree
in case
across
we,
the path that might require a chainsaw.
yeah, I'll throw mine in just in case we have to cut anything. Okay.
There may be other trees now, it's been a winter.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
after today.
Yeah,
That's right.
All right, so I think that's it. So I'll be there before 10. I know we scheduled for 10, but I'll be there before 10. Bring a water bottle with you. Stay hydrated, and the gloves and the tick spray, as we know, ticks are out there like crazy. So
Oh, not yet.
Very good. I do have a public comment. I didn't
Okay,
know
well-
whether I should save this till public comment.
no, go.
I'm
Well,
not on
we'll
commission.
open.
During, when I was processing the National Register form for Anthony, one of the sites, contributing sites listed in it is that I think it's 7 or 9 acres. Can you bring up Capwell Avenue? Off the north end of Capwell Avenue is the former Peck Machine Shop, which is just a bunch of stone walls, ruins, nothing that vandals could damage or particular. And it's got a gorgeous stream going through it. It would make a marvelous, but I don't understand. It's town owned. Do you only deal with non-town owned
No,
properties?
it's probably not a land trust property. So the town, and I don't know, we'd have to find out how they acquired it, whether it was a tax sale or whether someone, but it wasn't a land trust. We'll see if he can bring up the card and see. Sometimes on the CIA card, it tells you when the property was acquired.
Yeah, that's it right there. There's the only artifact left is a turban sitting right out on the road, on the edge of the road.
Hmm.
I hiked it a little bit.
What's the sale date, John?
December 29th of 2014.
And the town owns it.
Yes.
Yeah, it would be a fabulous park of some
Right,
sort.
right,
It's just-
Anthony area.
So is it a
beautiful.
park and recreation property?
The trouble is, the only parking is right on the road,
Right there, yeah.
where the road bends around, but there, right now you can get 3 or 4 cars there, and it could be expanded a bit. I was just curious. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of property
So-
doing absolutely nothing, and it's got historic features on it.
Yeah, that's an interesting, John, maybe you can just forward that to the town manager and maybe to Raina, maybe just the town manager's office, or the town clerk, to see what the story of the acquisition. We know what the date was, but
Or we could look at the
Well,
deed.
yeah,
See what
I
Nate
mean,
says.
that's across the way there. We can look and see whether it was, why, and what the status, if there's any issues or whatever. Some of these properties, went tax sale because or some were just donations to the town, and some, we can try and find out a little bit of who, but obviously it's just town and it's not land trust.
Yeah,
It looks, I think you mentioned this the last time, and I think that's looks like an ideal sort of area that needs a little
there's a
bit.
very
something,
thorough
yeah.
description of the history of it in the NR.
Yeah,
Anthony NR form.
Hmm.
So,
well, that's, yeah, John, if you can find anything about that property for the next meeting, just to see if there's some,
This is off Capwell Avenue.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We've
Capwell.
walked for the land trust, and then
Yeah.
the town took it instead of the land trust.
so.
It's that
so
area
do
behind
you-
ice.
Yeah, so
ice
do you,
flowers and,
Mhm.
do you know what any of the,
well,
remember any of the
you know,
details?
it's below that middle dam,
Yeah, on the,
Yeah.
and the river was diverted, or the waters were diverted, because, and I guess there's worry if the dam ever went, it would flood the area. So maybe they don't want the land trust to have it, I don't know. But
The,
there is pretty old stonework in there. It's a
Mm.
nice place to
Yeah,
walk.
yeah,
Yeah,
lots
Yeah,
of,
we did site
there
walks
is,
there.
there is one
yeah.
cellar pit that would have to be filled
Filled
or
in, yeah.
protected or something.
protected, so. No. All right, well,
What
that's,
is this?
Well, that's why it's so deep in there, because that was lower dam.
Looks like it's
But it would have
privately
led
owned.
right there by ice house flowers and.
It's funny, the
All that
stream
happens on it.
finally
There's
goes,
no
I
access
followed
to
the
it.
stream, it
Right.
goes into
Right,
a
it's
culvert,
landlocked.
then goes under the road and under that service station.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
see
goes
that.
through there
Yeah,
to
dumps
come out.
into the
Yeah.
mill pond.
Float away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but there was a greater diversion so that it wouldn't all come there, I think.
That's the substation there.
Mhm.
This is Ice House Flowers here.
Oh, wow. So,
This
okay,
is
so
the
that's
flooding
eastern part
source
of
in
town.
there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to know the circumstances of the town's acquisition of it, to, obviously, it wasn't the land trust, and so if they didn't use land trust funds, you know, what is the town's mission on the property?
Mhm.
Other than, it's nice that it's preserved there, but
Well, I don't know if did I give you my report on town-owned properties? I did
We have a
whole-
different mission, different
Yeah.
rules. You know, the town can put in a parking lot, build a school. We don't do the things the town does with its land.
Yeah.
That's why we have the land trust, because we're just collecting the natural resources,
Well,
leaving it more or less alone, you know, other than passive trails.
Well, during my research, I came to the conclusion there are an awful lot of town-owned properties that they kind of inherited or got from a variety of ways, and the town has never paid attention to them.
yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of them have wetlands on them. I mean, they're detention ponds, they're all kinds of things.
Yes.
And apparently they're just orphans. Nobody pays any
Yeah,
attention
well, a
to
lot
them.
of times that, you know, when they went up for tax sale, and no one wanted it because of whatever purpose,
Right.
you know, and, you know, so then some people just gave it away, so. This particular property, probably because of the waterway and stuff,
Yeah. Storm Sandy, you know, made people nervous
yeah,
about a
well,
number of
when we had,
areas.
when we had the floods of 2010 and all the
Yes.
dams were.
right.
And I know that's because you've got, are there 3 dams on that between the big one and then all the way down, upper, middle and lower, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, obviously there's some historic significance and it's a nice area that,
Mhm. Yeah,
but
I mean,
these things are things that the town needs to leverage to say that we do have some recreation opportunities that we don't even have to spend a lot of money on if we can
Hmm.
create a trail and that tie it into the history of that, you know.
yeah.
Obviously wetlands are, you can see that it's got some wetlands there, but
Right.
I'm not
Is there
familiar
a
at all.
brook have a name that goes through there?
Not sure. Doesn't say on this map.
That's
It just shows us the blue line. It
Yeah.
doesn't name.
Yeah, it's
anything.
wet down there, you know,
Yeah, nothing's named.
sort of like Grasset.
yeah.
Interesting.
It's quite a slope going down
Yeah,
to
it's a
the,
slope. It does go
to the.
up to Middle
stream.
Dam, which was padlocked off, you know.
There's actually a trail that goes down, and goes over the stream, and somebody's put some plywood and
Make a
boards
bridge.
and stuff to make.
Yeah,
the
oh
bridge,
yeah,
but
there were
it's-
little pup
so
tents and
broken down,
things
it's
here and
kind
there.
of
It's being
dangerous.
used. It's being used locally.
Issues for the May 17th agenda. So next meeting, anything new that we had to add? I do want to make sure that we all follow up with Lynn and get our
Yeah.
stuff. So we need to continue on, but we need to work on that because that's going to be our quickest way of getting ourselves.
Can we just
organized.
send photos directly to her? Or should we send them to Gail to her?
No, you can send that stuff, you can send to Lynn, but what
Okay.
we should do is try and organize for each property, so we don't confuse, you
Right.
know, so what we may want to do is just maybe send it to Gail, and then we can just, at the next meeting, we can decide, yeah, let's approve what we're gonna send right off the line, say that's a good
Okay.
picture for those, so not that, you know, we're gonna be
I would
artists.
suggest, as having come from the computer world, I always test everything. I would suggest you pick one and do a complete set of files for that one
Mhm.
and send those to her, because
As
there's
one,
there's resolutions, issues to deal with and all kinds of things. Then, once you've got the technique down, then you can do the other.
okay, yeah, that's an excellent
Yeah,
idea.
we try to feature for our event, you know, for the year, and it's Stella Hall right now.
Yeah, so
we
let's
are
focus on,
focusing.
you know, primarily, let's do Stella Hall since we'll be working there for the
This weekend.
summer. Let's get a couple of good pictures. And at least maybe that's the first target here, because if Lynn walks with us and walks the trail, puts the GPS map on,
Mhm.
we put a couple of pictures, we can use that for a link
Yep.
for advertising our event too, to go to
Yeah.
this and you can
There are
see the.
some good unique pictures there, the sand point, you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
where
Mhm.
turtles come up to lay
Mhm.
eggs and.
yeah.
you
I was
know, the
amazed the
view
first
off
time I
by
ever
a
went out there.
dam.
It was
Yeah,
just like, I didn't even know that the town, that the land
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
or the town owned that. It was
Yeah, see,
incredible.
if you have Lynn do one of those story things like she's talking about,
right,
that there could be a link directly to that on the regular town
right.
website.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Something
That'd be
like
great.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Good.
All right.
Okay.
Any other agenda items? No. I think we deleted one, we'll keep the rest. Public comment? Anyone in the audience? George is still there, but I don't know whether George was able to hear us or not. I'll reach out to George tomorrow anyways, but he just wanted to listen in. He wanted an update and because he's looking still to proceed and move on. All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
Made by Jack,
a second.
seconded by
Yep.
Rory. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. No, all opposed, voted. Land trust is adjourned at 7:57 PM.
Thank you.
Excellent.